there's a severe housing shortage caused partly by immigration, legal and illegal at the moment. And something like, they've been given, what would be thought to be well-appointed $2,000 a month apartments. No, they're not really flats. Flats sort of down market, apartments being posh flats, if you like. These are given some upmarket, premium flats. And also as well, when it comes to the social housing, there are some immigrants over here who are really, really taking the mickey. Apparently 50% of social housing in Britain is given to people who aren't born there. And I think with the Somalis, something like 72% of Somalis who have been allowed to settle here live in social housing, which is subsidised because most of them don't work either. The state pays their rent for them, and they just have the life of Riley, and there's nothing they have to do to earn their keep over here. They're a massive burden on our society, and in fact, the last 6 quarters, our GDP per head, per capita, has actually gone down because of the burden of immigration.
It's the same thing in Canada. Justin Trudeau is juicing the immigration numbers. He's bringing in record numbers. I don't think you'll believe me, but he's bringing in 2 million people this year in a country that is only 2/3 the size of the UK. 2 million. 1 million he's calling students. Another 750,000 are temporary workers who are never sent home. So right there, 1.75 million. I think that's as large as the entire UK, and you're 50% bigger than us.
Well, we're running at about 1 million. We're running about 1 million.
And
by the way, you want a mini? Here's a little mini conspiracy theory. A journalist has sat down and got the figures for mobile cell phones, the number of contracts issued, looked at the sewerage output, food consumption in the supermarkets. And officially, our population is about 67 to 69 million, something like that. They actually think the real population of Britain is 77 to 80 million people. That's based on, as I say, that data.
Because no one's ever deported. I don't know why whenever I think of the UK, I think of poetry, because, of course, the English language may well be the greatest gift that the UK has given the world. And Shakespeare, who never missed a trick, when he was praising England, he referred to the English Channel as one of its key assets. Let me read. He called it the royal throne of kings. He said, this happy breed of men, this little world. And then here's how he described it geographically. This precious stone set in the silver sea, which serves it in the office of a wall or as a moat defensive to a house. If you look at the English Channel and think of it as a moat to protect the castle, that's brilliant. And that's exactly what it always has been. Going back to the Spanish, going back to the Germans. The Germans wanted to invade, but that moat saved them. Well, there is an invasion going on, a D-Day in reverse. Literally every day, boats bring hundreds of people. And instead of being sent back, they're being sent to these 4-star hotels that you mentioned. Why aren't you defending the moat?
Well, I can't work out why there is such a lack of will to stop this. It could theoretically we can't physically return under maritime law. We can return these people because they're technically illegal. But apparently the excuse is the French won't let us in their waters to let them take them back. It might be kind of a punishment beating because we left the EU in 2016. And that just might be a spiteful way of getting back to us. But the point is, if the French don't stop it and stop it now, the people will just be coming and coming and coming. And, there will be no stop to it. Until Britain is as poor as the third world countries they came from, there will be no end to this illegal immigration that's going on.
Australia a few years back was getting lots of boats coming down, and Australia could be swamped in a minute because they have a population of only, 25, maybe 30 million people, and they're just across the water from Indonesia, from, frankly, a little further away from China. So if they weren't careful, they could literally be overwhelmed. So they brought in a policy, I'm not sure if it's still in effect, where they would capture people and take them to, I think it was called Christmas Island, which was an island off Australia, and they would process them there, and they would either send them back, or if they were genuine refugees, they had a deal with a little country called Nauru, one of the world's smallest
Yeah.
countries, and they would pay Nauru, I don't know, $10,000 to take these migrants, and they'd say, okay, you're in danger for your life. You convinced us, but you don't get to choose where you're not going to Sydney or Melbourne. You're going to Nauru. You'll be safe there. And so they genuinely helped those genuinely in need, but they sent a signal to the rest of the boats. If you think you're going to be going to Melbourne or Sydney, you're wrong. Now, I know the UK had an idea of doing this with the East African country called Rwanda, but it was just a ruse. It was a trick that the last Conservative government played, talking a lot, we're going to send people to Rwanda. I don't think a single person was ever sent to Rwanda, but they sure talked about that plan. And now Labour is saying, no, we're just going to take them all.
Sure. Well, one person volunteered. Apparently,
one person, eh? That's not bad.
Perhaps they like the beaches on the lake, but I don't know. But apparently one person, and the joke was that more journalists have been to Rwanda than immigrants. But whether it seemed to actually work, because to a certain extent, because a lot of the people over in France were reluctant to risk the crossing until the Labour Party came into power. And it was one of the election pledges of Rwanda, one of Labour's election pledges. They would stop, they wouldn't send anybody to Rwanda. But one of the Conservative Party leadership campaigners, James Cleverly, has said he might reintroduce it should he be elected. But I think the difference between Australia and Britain was Australia likes to get things done, and we like to sort of look at the dots and we like to dot our I's and cross our T's on international law and adhere to it. And if you want a slight, it's not a conspiracy theory, but Robert Jenrick used to be the immigration minister under I think it was Suella Braverman, and he resigned because he wanted to cut immigration and he wasn't allowed to. And he wrote an article for the Telegraph and said one of the reasons why everyone's so keen about immigration is because after politics, they want a job with an international NGO or an international agency like UNESCO or United Nations or Amnesty International or something like that. So the reason they're so pro-immigration is so they don't muddy the waters for their job prospects after they leave politics.